Hello again, everybody. It's time for the first mission to the Black Hole campaign. Not, unfortunately, the Black Hole campaign in the sense that we get to play as Black Hole. We're going into their territory. I don't know why Flak is still around. Sturm seems to be kind of like, a Darth Vader clone, so I figure he would have killed these useless henchmen by now. And they are shocked that their leader's finally getting off his lazy rear and actually doing something. I wouldn't put Flak in charge of delicate operations at the missile platform myself, but whatever. Ominous. Once again, we're forced to choose our COs before seeing the map. This one's a little bit unusual, in that you must have grit pretty much, and then nothing else really matters. I guess you have a slight advantage with Jess and Max, but it doesn't matter. Just pick anybody who isn't Kanbei. Which again is unusual, but in this case, the cost of units matters a lot, and Kanbei doesn't really help you. At all. Alright, so we see the map now, and it's just covered in black cannons and mini cannons, which is one reason that Kanbei is not very helpful here. For some reason, it seems like most of these people have been imagining that Black Hole would just take all their resources and just build a giant heap here, basically, instead of using the resources for some kind of purpose. Only the smart COs grasp that there'd be no reason to do any of that. A little bit of a silly scene, but I guess they need to spell things out for kids or whatever. Eagle comes across as an idiot for not having realized this, though. And Olaf too, of course, but Olaf is an idiot. It does always kind of bug me a little bit that Nell keeps showing up and not actually being playable. Back in Orange Star, we could assume that she was fighting battles elsewhere or something like that, but now, what could she be doing that's more important than fighting here? Not that she'd be useful or anything, I just feel like it's odd for her to be here but not actually playable. People act as though it's shocking that we go after the Black Cannons when those have been the mission objectives on most missions that had them up until now. This makes some sense, though, of course. I wouldn't call it brilliant, but whatever. Yeah, we do see that indirect fire is really important here, which is why grit is basically mandatory. So, once again, I feel like it would be good if we could see the map before we chose our COs, but just not the way it works. Alright, so, for grit, we just build 2 infantry, and we end the turn. For Jess over here, we just build an infantry, and we end the turn. For Max, we build an infantry, and we end the turn. This is basically just like a one-time puzzle mission. Once you solve the puzzle once, there's not too much challenge to it. Which is unfortunate. It's a cool idea, there just isn't any challenge in the execution, because you can see the enemies all bottled up behind those pipes, and they can't get out. Unless we foolishly release them, we don't need to worry about that giant army at all. So all of that makes it so that once you've solved it once, there's not any challenge executing it ever again. Alright, now, I'm going to build myself a rocket, and then this part is a little bit important. I'm going to build an infantry here, but I won't build any infantry next turn. If I do that, then I'll need to skip a turn because I won't have enough money to build another rocket. Nobody wants that. Over here we build MD tanks, and that's pretty much all we're going to do for the rest of the mission. So the key to solving this mission is knowing how black cannons work, which of course the game doesn't actually tell you. But the way it works is that they target whatever the most expensive unit in their range is. MD tanks cost 16,000 if they're at full health, therefore Black Cannon will always target one of them instead of a rocket, which costs 15,000. The reason you don't pick Kanbei here is that his MD tanks cost more than that, and therefore can't really get out as many as you would like to. And they still get shot by Black Cannons just as easy as anybody else's MD tanks. There's absolutely no purpose whatsoever to engaging with Sturm's fleets on the side there. They're really strong, and killing them serves just absolutely no value whatsoever. Imagine that you kill this entire fleet over here, for example, and you get out like a scissors of your own. Okay, what are you going to do with it? Put it over here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, useless. Get up planes over here, what are they going to do? Get through this pipe seam and that pipe seam and these units while 3 Black Cannons are shooting at them? Not going to happen. So the only real way to do this officially is just use grit. Nothing else will work. Which I don't find to be a super engaging way to design a mission, but whatever. The next mission and the previous one make up for it just being absolutely wonderful. Alright, watch out for the lasers. I've occasionally messed up and had an MD tank get shot by one of those, which is always a nuisance. And that's about it. I always grab an extra base for the side team guys, just because otherwise, if Sturm is intelligent with the scissors, he might have it watch both of your bases on one side. Although he could easily watch all 3 bases, he's never intelligent enough to do that on purpose. So you can just ignore his entire navy. Being able to ignore Sturm units is really good, by the way. Let's talk about him. Sturm is the final boss CO, and he is appropriately overpowered. He has plus 100% attack and defense on every single unit, which is incredible. But even more incredibly, he moves full speed over all terrain types, so this just makes him absolutely amazing. Nobody is a match for him anywhere. His units are basically as good as Canvas, and they move full speed over all terrain and they cost normal price. It says he's weak in the snow. People think he's weak in the snow. That is a complete lie. He is not weak in the snow, in the least. What is true is that snow brings his movement down to everybody else's level. Not any worse, just down to everybody else's level. His attack and defense stay as good as usual. So snow basically affects him the same as it affects every single other CO in the game. He has no weakness. Except I guess not having a CO power. But he makes up for it by having a superpower that's one of the best in the game. Costs 10 stars, but it's pretty well worth 10 stars. It brings his attack and defense up to plus 40%, plus 50% I believe, so basically invincible. And also just wipes out whatever the highest value cluster of units on the map is, the meteor dealing 8 HP of damage. Incredibly powerful. Alright, so the reason we didn't build any infantry last turn is that we can afford a third rocket this turn if we don't. So we go ahead and we do that. Advance these rockets. And spin that infantry over there where I can capture things once the mini cannons are cleared out. Alright, and we will see what Sturm chooses to guard. And over here we can just keep cranking out MD tanks. Do watch out for the laser though. Great. Now, it's important to talk about how power scores and technique scores work in these Black Hole campaign missions. Whereas in the previous campaigns, whoever the home team was basically is the one who counted for power and technique. That's not the way it is here in Black Hole. Instead, whoever strikes the final blow against the mission objective is the one who counts for the power and technique score. So in this case, it'll be Grit who counts. We have to get Grit 3 kills to get a perfect power score. Alright, Sturm has decided to watch that base, so I can't use that anymore, but oh well. One mini cannon down. And I'll just have my infantry hang out, build a few more, and wait a little bit. One thing I sometimes like to do is put infantry deliberately in laser range, because it doesn't matter anymore. And that helps me keep an eye on where the laser is, so I don't accidentally put something more important in range. Alright, so we've got that captured. His sisters over here is doing a really lousy job. And I guess standing here is fine. Pointlessly maneuvers his navies around. Okay. That'll be down next turn. And over here I'll crank out another rocket. No, I guess I could have been more intelligent with my movement there. You know, had this rocket be firing too. Oh well, it won't actually matter. Alright, let's have that infantry just stay down there, out of the way. You can have your MD tanks help out a little bit with these cannons and speed things up a little bit, but I don't think it's necessarily worth the trouble. Since they'll just get shot up prematurely and you'll have a little bit less, somewhat fewer decoys, I mean. Alright, so infantry stands over here, marking the spot, and we drive the MD tanks on over and end the turn. his rock will sink eventually if it just keeps surfacing and diving like that. I mean, it would sink eventually regardless, but it'll happen a lot faster is what I mean. Two cannons down. 3 cannons down. Well, it is now safe to capture these cities. And that city. And that city. And I guess I'll just wait on the other one. Now, how do I need to reposition to get faster to the cannons? I think I'm good, actually. You want to get in range of them as fast as possible to just take them out. Without needing to use as many decoys. Okay. Get another MD, we'll certainly need plenty of decoys soon. And I guess I can now advance one space further. While over here, this infantry just continues to be a signal for me about the danger. I guess you could deliver the break up in one of these front pipe teams to let a few of his units walk out to you. But you can also just as easily have Grit's units snipe his guys in the back. So, again, it's not hugely complicated or terribly interesting. Alright, this guy can walk in range next turn to get in range of the black cannon. This guy can get in range next turn. In range next turn. Doesn't really matter. Capture, 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 capture. Okay. So all we need to do now is make sure that there are always enough decoys. And we only did a lot of decoys for a few turns here. So I want to make sure there's at least one empty tank in range of each of those cannons at full health. And this works too. And another MD tank. Just keep the decoys flowing. One thing that can go wrong is occasionally a cannon you don't expect to shoot will shoot a guy on the opposite side from it, basically, and then make it so that the one you expected to hit that decoy won't hit it, and will hit a rocket instead. That can happen if you just don't have extra decoys. So just always have extra decoys. There's no harm to having them there. Okay, so, rocket in position. Rocket in position. Rocket in position. Rocket ready to fire away at something unimportant next turn for the power score. Go for the captures, go for the captures. I've seen some people use MD tanks as grit too, just as distractions, but why would you do that? Just have his rockets distract for his other rockets if you need to. Just keep on driving in the decoys. Alright, that should do. We'll need to keep this up really for one more turn before taking out 2 of his cannons, and injured the 3rd one. I just won't kill the 3rd one until I've gotten enough kills, of course. If you don't know how Black Cannons work, I'm not really sure how you're supposed to take care of this mission, to be honest. I mean, I've done it before I knew how they work, but there's not really an elegant way to do it if you don't know how to distract enemy fire. Okay, 1 cannon injured. Now the other thing to watch out for here is you don't want to do too much damage and have him join up units. Your odds of getting away with it are fairly high if you target the MD tanks instead. Not the best luck there, though. Still, as long as they're not injured enough that they'll join, you're fine. Just don't hit any of them down to 2 HP or something like that. Okay. Well, that's that for him. 1 more turn of heavy bombardment, and then we'll have taken out 2 of the cannons. Yeah, maybe I can even take out all 3 next turn if I can just get the numbers to work out to where I'll have perfect power score. I'll need to see what I can actually kill and what I can't kill. Again, he's distracted. Okay, let's think about this. So, I probably can't kill this guy, really. I think it'd be better off just waiting a turn. So I'll just hit that thing down. And that one. Then what? What's the best way to take care of these things? There we go. I'll go for that one as the next skill. And then I simply don't shoot that cannon. Join up. And end the turn. So even if luck doesn't favor me now, I have 2 rockets aimed at all of the actual targets, so it's easy to guarantee that I just get the 3 guys that I want. And this way you never have to deal with Sturm Superpower. You probably never would have to in this mission, really. You'd have to really mess up, I would say, to have Sturm get a superpower and do way too much fighting. Ah, see? Good thing that I had the spare rocket, right? Otherwise we'd be stuck here for another turn. Okay, so 1 empty tank. And then this should be a kill. And we just need 1 more. And what do you know? You'll do. And with that, all I have to do is poke the last black cannon, and that's a wrap. The next mission is a lot better. I'm really looking forward to it. It's absolutely spectacular. I don't know why they would really, want us to find this out, but whatever. I guess it's to get us to charge in and get massacred by him, but he could just launch the missile instead. accomplish more things. I guess he just wants to taunt us, but this seems like a very risky way to taunt us when he could have just kept things secret and won. Cosmoland, of course, is kind of the homeland content I guess we saw in the previous game. I don't really get how the psychology of these aliens that we've captured ever work. Or maybe it's not aliens. Maybe we captured one of the human. I don't. Who even knows this black hole? I mean, he is basically right. Like, we can't let them launch the giant missile at us or whatever, so... And we've seen them build giant missiles before in Blue Moon. It was sort of foreshadowing for this, which I guess I like. Grit's folksy sayings.
Mission complete.
I guess this gives us a sense now, looking at that picture, of how big the pipes are supposed to be in universe. The answer is not all that big, right? So it's totally weird that a plane can't fly over them if they're only that tall, as we can see there. Whatever, though. It's cool to have another one of these unique background pictures. Yawn indeed, Grit. Next one will be better, though. And I'm basically at the capped amount of points, but nothing to buy until I beat the next mission to unlock things. Oh well. Until next time, have a great day, everybody.